Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you to our very first post-COVID Moment Musicale. This was an ongoing program that unfortunately had to come to a swift close, but we are back. And it's so wonderful to see all of you here with us this afternoon. I'd like to remind you all first to please make sure that you unplug, turn off all the electronics that you might have with you. And I would also like to welcome our live stream audience, wherever you are out there. This is our first opportunity to bring these programs to a global audience. I'd like to thank the Hennings-Fisher Foundation for helping to make that possible. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce the mayor for Laguna Woods, Janine Heft.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am Janine Heft. As Valerie said, I am the mayor of Laguna Hills. First of all, who here lives in Laguna Hills? Anyone? Okay, so we have a lot of participation from outside of our city. I really appreciate that. Just wanted to welcome you here to our beautiful community center. This is our heritage room. And I'm just really pleased that we're bringing back some beautiful culture, singing, piano, instruments. I have a theater and vocal singing background myself, and so I really appreciate having the ability to bring this enrichment of the arts to our city. And I just wanted to thank you for coming. I want to make sure we're promoting all of these events in the future, and I'm hoping to fourfold the amount of people coming today because I know there's a lot of effort that goes into these performances, and I'm sure we're going to really enjoy all of them. Thank you so much.
My name is Valerie Geller. I am the conductor of the Global Harmony Symphony. We are a fully volunteer community orchestra, and I would like to welcome so many of the members of the orchestra who are here today. Would you care to stand, members of the Global Harmony Symphony? Welcome. And I'd also like to acknowledge our president, John Stevens, and our president emeritus, Rita Holcomb. Unfortunately, neither of them were able to attend today, but I'm sure they're watching. I also have a few other thank yous, and excuse me, because I'm sure I'll mess it all up, but let's see. I figure if they can mess it up at the Oscars, I can mess it up here. Here we go. Let's see. So, of course, the City of Laguna Hills, thank you so very much for making this beautiful facility available to us, and all of our programs and concerts are presented free to the public. Our upcoming concerts and our Moment Musicales can be found on the Global Harmony Symphony website. We're very easy to locate. And should you care to be a contributor to the orchestra, there's also a donations link on that website. I'd also like to again acknowledge the Hennings-Fisher Foundation for helping to make this possible. Future Video, Bob Cohen, president, for assisting us in helping to organize our live stream programs. The All-American Boys Chorus, Aaron Casaro, Aaron. He is the CEO of that wonderful organization. And now, with that, let us proceed. Oh, one other thing. I want to welcome also the many school districts here in Orange County, California, who are joining us today via live stream. Anyone who would care to see this program in the future, it is being recorded and you'll be able to enjoy what you see this afternoon on YouTube. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce today's wonderful artists, Greta Gould, Lika Handa, and Oliver Stewart for The Snowman.
It was a cold, cold winter's night. In a cottage in the country, tucked away beneath the hills, a little boy lay sleeping. Snow began to fall, lightly at first, and then with giant flakes which started to settle on the ground. At first light of morning, the little boy turned over, yawned, and sat up. He ran to the window and looked out. Everything was covered in snow. The garden, the fields, and the distant hills. He got dressed as fast as he could. When he was ready, he hurried down the stairs. At the back door, he put on his boots, his scarf, and his woolly hat, and walked out into the snow. First of all, he thought, I'll make some giant footsteps. Above him was the branch of a tree. He jumped up and swung on it. The snow from the branch fell all over him. Then he made a snowball and threw it as hard as he possibly could, straight into the kitchen window. "You do something else," said his mother. The little boy wandered off, wondering what to do. And it was at exactly this moment he got the idea of building the snowman. He built a great column of snow, the size of a man, and a great big snowball to go on top of it. Then he fetched a scarf and a hat, a tangerine for the nose, and coal for the eyes. At last, the snowman was finished, and the boy stepped back and looked at him. He seemed to be smiling. By this time, it was getting dark, and the little boy had to go indoors, leaving the snowman standing all alone out in the middle of the garden. Indoors, the family sat round a nice, warm fire. Very soon, it was time to go up to bed. Up the stairs he went, two at a time, into the bathroom to clean his teeth. Then hop, step, and jump along the landing to his bedroom. dead and asleep. In the middle of the night, he woke, tiptoed to the window, and peered down at the snowman, shivering. He went back to bed, but then the clock woke him. This time, he got up and tiptoed down the stairs, feeling rather cold. He looked out at the snowman through the glass panels of the front door. Suddenly, while the boy was looking at him, the snowman moved! Then he actually started to walk towards the boy. He stopped and raised his hat. Then he walked forward again, right up to the boy, and they shook hands. "Come in," said the boy. "I'd love to," said the snowman. Together, they tiptoed into the living room. The snowman thought it was wonderful. He looked at the cat sleeping peacefully by the fire and wanted to stroke it. But when the cat saw the snowman, he was terrified and leapt into the air. The snowman jumped backwards and lurched into the Christmas tree, setting all the little bells ringing, the candles shaking, and the fairy wobbling. At last it settled down and the boy plugged it in. The tree lit up with every colour you could think of. Blues and greens, reds and yellows, gold lights and silver lights. Then the snowman walked from the Christmas tree and sat himself down in a comfortable armchair. The boy turned on the television. There was nothing but fuzzy lines and zigzags, and it made the snowman dizzy. Then, with a start, the boy realized that the snowman was sitting too near the fire. He realized that he might melt if he got too hot, so he pulled him out of the chair and hurried him out of the room. To the kitchen, which was cold and dark. The boy reached for the light switch. The snowman was curious. He wanted to switch it on himself. The snowman plodded over to the kitchen sink, and the boy climbed up and turned on the cold tap. Then the hot one as well. A big cloud of steam rose up. Steam! It was too hot for the snowman and he backed away. He saw a cake with a tiny model snowman on it. He picked it up and smiled at it. Then he took fruit from a bowl and tried on an orange for a nose, then a lemon, a banana, then a cherry, and then a huge pineapple. But his own tangerine fitted best. So he put it back on. He leaned down and opened the fridge, and a waft of cold air came out. The snowman loved it. For him, it was just like sunbathing. "Let's go upstairs," said the boy. Up they went and paused outside his parents' room. Someone was snoring. "Be very quiet," said the boy. Shh. Look, false teeth, whispered the boy. The snowman wanted to try them on. He put them on and walked to a mirror to see how they looked. It gave him a terrible fright. Next, he tried out some makeup and looked in the mirror again. He looked into the wardrobe and saw all the clothes hanging there. And some hats. He tried one on. Then he tried on some trousers, but the braces caught over his nose. Do be careful, said the boy. We mustn't wake them. A perfume spray stood on the dressing table. The snowman squirted it. He liked that. He did it again. Suddenly the perfume made him want to sneeze. He held his nose. He mustn't sneeze in the bedroom. The boy hurried him out of the room, and then he sneezed. In the boys' playroom was a music box. They wound it up and danced to it. At the end of the dance, they both collapsed onto the floor with balloons and teddy bears all around them. I've got another idea, said the boy. Come with me and look out of the window. Outside, they could see a strange dark object. Nodding to each other, they tiptoed silently down the stairs, out through the front door and into the open air. The dark object seemed much bigger now they were close to it, and whatever it was covered up with a big black tarpaulin. Summoning up all his strength, the boy went and pulled it off. Standing there was a bright, shiny, new motorbike. The boy pointed out the controls to the snowman, turned the key in the ignition, turned on the headlight, and suddenly the snowman was on the bike and racing round the garden. For a second he stopped. The little boy jumped on behind him, and then they were off! garden, the snowman found his legs had started to melt from the heat of the engine. He was dripping all over the place as if he'd just come out of the bathtub. At that moment, the boy had another bright idea. Grabbing the snowman's hand, he pulled him into the garage. Humming away in the corner was the big, deep freeze. He pulled him. In the second, the snowman had jumped into the freezer, and in another second, the dripping had stopped. The little boy watched him lying there and realized that an idea had come into the snowman's head. Without warning, the snowman climbed out of the freezer and, gripping the boy firmly by the hand, began to run. Out of the garage, out into the snow, out across the garden, faster and faster, landing and jumping, until suddenly the boy realized that they were flying.
We're walking in the air, we're floating in the midnight sky. The people far below are sleeping as we fly. I'm holding very tight, I'm riding in the midnight blue. I'm finding I can fly so high above with you. Far across the world, the villages go by like trees. The rivers and the hills, the forest and the streams. Children gaze open mouth, taken by surprise. Nobody down below believes their eyes. We're surfing in the air, we're swimming in the frozen sky. We're drifting over icy mountains floating by. Suddenly, swooping low on an ocean deep, rousing of a mighty monster from its sleep. We're walking in the air, we're floating in the midnight sky. And everyone who sees us greets us as we fly.
They landed silently in the frozen north. They were in the middle of a great forest of pine trees laden with snow. But somewhere ahead they could hear music and see lights. There, in a clearing in the forest, a Christmas party was taking place, and all the people at the party were snowmen. More snowmen than you could ever imagine in your life. And there, right in the middle of them, radiating good cheer and smiling from ear to ear, Father Christmas himself. "You're just in time for the dance of snowmen," he chuckled, and clicked his fingers. When the party was all over, Father Christmas led the boy and the snowman to a stable. Light spilled through the door, and inside they could see the reindeer which he used to pull the sleigh. Father Christmas gave the boy a lovely blue scarf as a present, and he put it on. It was time for them to go. The snowman gripped the boy's hand, and once again they started to run. Faster and faster, bounding and jumping until they were flying. At last, they landed in the garden again, and together walked slowly to the house. The little boy shook hands with the snowman and went up to the front door. But the snowman waved, and the boy ran back and gave him a great big hug. Then the boy went indoors and very soon was fast asleep. Next morning when he woke, the room was ablaze with sunlight. He put on his dressing gown and ran downstairs and opened the front door. The sun felt warm on his face. The boy ran out into the garden and saw a little heap of melted snow, an old hat, a tangerine, a scarf, and a few lumps of coal. But the snowman was nowhere to be seen. The adventures of the night before had been nothing but a dream. But then he felt in his pocket, and the scarf that Father Christmas had given him was still there.
The last thing I feel like doing right now is taking the stage with these three wonderful artists. Thank you so very much for this wonderful presentation. Ladies and gentlemen. I have to give a little promo, unfortunately. I'm still breathing. Breathe in pink, breathe out blue, just relax and enjoy this moment. Don't be in a hurry to turn your cell phones back on. Just enjoy the peace of these lovely moments where you can unplug and decompress from what's going to happen. Unfortunately, when you walk out those doors right now, you have to look forward to our upcoming programs. Our next artist will be performing on April the 13th. Shelby Wong will be presenting a beautiful recital program right here at the same time. Please visit the Global Harmony Symphony website for future concerts and Moment Musicale programs that we'll be presenting. And now, even better, in just a few moments, our wonderful artists are going to leave the stage and join you in a post-concert reception where you will have the opportunity to meet and greet them personally. Thank you all very much for coming. We look forward to seeing you at our next program. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Future Video, for today's program. Really enjoy it.